podcast. I am here today with a very special guest, Julie O'Hora. She's a writer and a director and a producer, and she's made a feature film called Pool Boys. She's working on another one. She's got a lot of stories, and we're going to get into them and ask her questions about some celebrities that she's worked with and writing and all that fun stuff. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing great, Sean. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So you're here in Atlanta?
I am.
We're both in Atlanta. Okay. Where do you live? I'm Old Fourth Ward.
Oh, I'm actually in Alpharetta, which you used to live up this way, I think.
Yes, right? Yes. I moved down here from Alpharetta. I was there for a few years, and believe it or not, Canton before that.
Okay.
So yeah, I moved down here from New York City to work at Turner, and yep. Now I'm in the city, which I love. My kids are about to go to college, so I was like, okay, they're not coming over as much. I'm gonna come down here to the city and be able to walk the Beltline. But
I love it down there.
Yeah, it's so great. I don't drive as much, which is great.
Really?
I commuted for years.
I don't drive much. My office is in the basement, so my commute is really decent.
That's really nice. So you're a full-time writer. Are you, we're going to get into the films and the features and all that, but are you writing other stuff also?
You mean besides film and TV, or?
Yes.
No, like journalistic writing or limericks or something. No.
Short stories. I don't know. Novels. No. No limericks. Okay.
No. Just film and TV. I got lucky, and my husband does well enough that we can have the occasional lull in my financial contributions. So I'm extremely lucky in that way.
Right. That is very good. So I have to get to a couple of ads. Actually, just one ad, and then the rest of them I'm going to play on this ticker that you'll see on the screen. So I don't have to talk ads for 5 minutes. But I do have to get to them. So I will be right back, have some water, and we will chat. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is Restream. It's a partner. They send your lives to several places like we are today: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, a bunch of Facebook groups. They also have a live studio, which is very cool. It's an incredible product. Anya is great, and all the people over at Restream. Everybody should check it out. It is inside my live broadcast right now on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. You can check out the link, and also you can see on the screen here, let me pull up these logos. We've got ECAMM, which is the software I'm using, and I'll have a little link go by for that. And Geek Vibes Nation, which is a network I'm part of. They have all kinds of stuff going on over their podcasts, talking about Marvel, talking about Gotham and Batman and all that stuff. And that's it. So check those all out. They're all in the links. And we also have a online store that you can check out. And these links will be coming by as we're talking right now, me and Julie. So Julie, you did so I'll give you a little background. I was an actor for 10 years. I did 4 original plays in a theater in San Francisco that I ran with a friend. And then I've made 4 short films, and I've written 2 screenplays that have never been produced. And I always have wanted to make a feature. So you did it. You got over the hill. You made a feature. It was called Pool Boys with Matthew Lillard and Tom Arnold. Can you tell us about it?
Well, to clarify, I wrote that. It was actually a spec feature I wrote that sold, which never happens. And I sold that to one of the producers of the American Pie films, and Warren Side. And it's kind of in that vein. It's very highbrow, sophisticated humor like those. But
right.
No, I was really proud of that. I mean, obviously, because it was the second feature spec I'd ever written, and he bought it, or I guess the option, probably 5 years after I had first started writing it, and I'd rewritten it a bunch, and he had seen it a few years before that, and then some time passed, and different deals came and went for both of us, and anyway, then he I guess had some sort of a production deal with somebody, and I was able to get that to him, and it was good timing. So then it went into production, and it was actually directed by J.B. Rogers, who he directed American Pie 2, and there was that movie years ago with Chris Klein and Heather Graham called Say It Isn't So, where they're like in love with their brother and sister, or they think they are or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and JB, he's first AD on like everything the Farrellys do.
Okay.
When Peter accepted the Oscar for Green Book, he called out JB and like thanked him. So he's a great guy. He directed it, and that was really cool. I just went off on a big tangent. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
But so what was it like? You were there, you were on set. Was that your first feature you worked on? Because I know you did some shorts.
Yeah, actually that came first. I did it backwards. And I mean the way things work, of course, in the industry, especially in the bigger films like that one. Especially I was a new writer. It was a spec script. So Warren and I worked together for a couple of months, and I did a few page one rewrites with him, and that was really, really cool process, learning and developing this project with this hotshot producer. I'd heard of him, seen all his work at that time, and now I'm on the phone with him all the time. So that was really pretty freaking exciting. And at the time, I'm like a mom. I've got young kids. I mean, I'm still a mom, but I'm in Florida. I wasn't a 23-year-old kid just out of film school, which
right.
This stuff happens to. So it was kind of exciting. Here I'm, in 30s, and so that was all neat. So it was a great experience working with him on the phone, and he'd like throw out ideas, and we'd go back and forth, and I'd write him new pages, and I'd send him some new pages, and so that was something I hadn't done before because I'd always been writing solitary in my office at home. So that was a really cool thing. But anyway, of course, the way Hollywood works is my drafts eventually were enough to get JB to sign on because he wanted to direct the project, and then. Of course, he wants to, it's a comedy too, so he brings in another writer that he likes to do a pass, and then they have other comedy writers that do like punch-ups for the jokes because it's a broad comedy, and that's what they do. So they always want a bunch of people that make to punch up the jokes, which is good. And so it was really cool because Justin Ware is a super good guy and a really good writer, and I learned a lot about the whole process because by the time it went through Justin and then all these other writers and then back through Justin again, there's very little of my dialogue in the film right now.
Oh, okay.
But what's really cool, and so many people hear this and they're like, that must be devastating for you and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, first of all, in this industry, unless you're going to be Robert Rodriguez and do everything yourself, you can't be precious about your stuff. You have to be willing to collaborate and allow other people's input to help make the project better, ideally. And it did. But it was also really neat because they were still all my characters. It's still the world I built and envisioned, and it's still the story I was telling. It's just they're saying different words to get from point A to point B.
Right.
That was really neat. So it's like you send your kid to school and they come home and they're singing a song you didn't teach them. It's still your kid.
Right.
It's just
right. I understand. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really neat. I was afraid it wasn't going to feel like mine anymore, but it was totally still mine. So that was really cool. And I still remember the first time I walked on the set, when the PA pulled up, and before I even saw any cameras or actors or anybody, I see all the white trailers, and that was just the coolest thing. And especially this was 2007. What was Hurricane Katrina, like 2004, maybe something. Mm-hmm. And we shot in New Orleans, even though the film takes place in Beverly Hills.
Right.
So it was really neat because I got to see all these hundreds of people, and they had jobs after Katrina because I had this idea one day, and so that was like a really cool feeling, and then just walking into the backyard of this mansion where the pool scene was being shot, and they had the track for the dolly and all the cameras, and
mm-hmm.
and I'm a filmer. I've never been on a big film set before. I mean, I was in a Pepsi ad. I was an extra in a Pepsi ad with Shaq back in Orlando in like the 90s. But it wasn't like that. And so this is just so cool. It's like people running around. It's like ants. It's like the chaos, and it all just kind of comes together. It's just the coolest thing. I'm going off. Do you want me to keep babbling? Or
No,
did you want...
no. So let's talk about the premiere. Like, was it, because we saw pictures from the premiere, and let me just see here. We've got a picture here of you with Matthew, and I don't know if you can see it. It's the other actor. His name's Enrique something.
Oh, Ethan Ramirez. That was
Ethan
Pedro
Ramirez.
from
Okay.
Dynamite.
Oh,
I've
he
seen
was
Nicole.
in Dynamite, Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, I knew him from somewhere.
Yeah.
So is he vote for Pedro?
He is Pedro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a super, super cool guy. I mean, they both were. Everybody was very cool.
Everybody's super nice. There wasn't anybody who, like, you don't want to talk about.
No, I mean, nobody that you've heard of, I'll say. And this has been my experience, and you've been around a bit, so maybe you've had the same. It seems that the people who have, I mean, if anybody has earned the right to be a jerk and have an ego, the people that have achieved that kind of a level tend to not be the ones that act it. It tends to be the people that are almost at that level that act out the ego. So where Matt Lillard is, he's number one on the call sheet in this film, he would bust tables at every meal for the crew. He'd walk around the tents and he'd grab everybody's plates and toss them away and talk to every single person on the crew. He knew everybody. The dude is just so much class. Such a good guy. I mean, everybody really too. And Ethan was very cool. At the time my kids were little, and I can't actually see what they're seeing. I screwed something up because I'm ancient, but I don't know what pictures you've shown, but I think I sent you a picture of him lying on a couch in a trailer.
Yes, I don't have that one. Right now I have a picture of you and Tom Arnold at the premiere.
Yes, that was at the what's it now called, TCL Chinese Theater. Yeah. It's a big screen. I didn't realize the screen was going to be so huge. It was amazing. But I hadn't met Tom on set because I was only on set for a few weeks and I wasn't there when he was there, which was a bummer. And George Takei's in the movie. I also missed him, which was a huge bummer. I still haven't met him. But so I met Tom at the premiere. I went over and introduced myself. Such a mensch. He gave me this big hug. He congratulated me. So nice. And the movie was about to start. So I was like, I need to get back to my seat. You're going to be at the after party so we can get a picture. And he said that he had an early call in the morning and he wasn't going to be at the party. So he's like, get your husband and take a picture now so we don't not get a chance. So it was so, he was just the sweetest man. I really like him a lot.
There's some sort of in-between person. So there's the kind of person, like you said, who's moving up and is a little snooty. Maybe it's a director or an assistant director, and they think they're a big deal when they're not. And then you have the big stars, like I've got a million stories I've heard about Sally Field and about Alec Baldwin, and they're super nice, and they, like you said, they want to eat with everybody, and they don't want to be separate and be treated differently. Sally Field does her own makeup. She doesn't even let them do she parks her own car. But then there's a weird place in between with like Shaq and Barkley where they almost want to talk to everybody, but they're so busy and they have a million people coming at them at once that you have to go through people to talk to them. So it's never like you can just walk up to them. They're always being escorted. They have people around them. They're surrounded. And since Shaq and Charles were in the building, it was weird because you could never you'd never see them walking by themselves. And someone explained it to me. It's like, Shaq would get someone asking for an autograph on his way to his car, or even if he was getting driven somewhere or in the street, like everywhere he went, people were like, sign my basketball, sign my shirt.
Yeah. I when I was a kid, I thought I wanted to be an actress. But now I have so much respect for actors who aren't rude. I can't cuss, so I'm going to say aren't rude to people that come up and expect their time, because you don't always want to be talked to right then. And these people that can be gracious 99% of the time, and they are, it's just amazing to me. I think that takes so much heart to be able to do that. It would freak me out, actually, to be recognizable like that, I think, too.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I've obviously thought about it because I was an actor. I just did a few short films and did some professional theater. But I wouldn't want to lose my anonymity with, like, you know, the public. I wouldn't want to go to a restaurant, have people come up to me, or be walking down the street, have people come up. I wouldn't like that at all, because I'm not that kind of person. Like, oh yeah, let me sign 50 autographs. Like, no, like, leave me alone. Like, I'm more quiet and reserved in public, you know.
Right.
So, that would not be my thing at all. So tell me about this new feature that you're working on. It's called Extreme Close-Up?
Yes, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's a lot different from the Pool Boys. I have like a hair in my eye. Can you
you
see
know
it?
what? We didn't show the trailer. We should go back and show. Do we want to show the
Go
trailer?
ahead. I'll dig in my eye, and then we can talk about it.
You dig in your eye. I'll show the trailer, and then hopefully you'll get all the stuff, whatever you need. Yeah,
like
and then we'll come back and talk about the new feature. Here we go. This is. Let me turn off these logos. This is, and it will play full screen with sound, and will be muted for the 2 minutes that it's on. So Pool Boys, the trailer that Julie worked on and wrote. Oh, here it is.
A Harvard dropout. A Harvard hopeful.
I need to get that scholarship.
Do you know anything about aquatic engineering? It's not as glamorous as you think.
Roger! What are you doing swimming?
This summer in Beverly Hills,
Keep an eye on the place while we're gone. We'll be back in about 6 weeks.
a pool master
If I ask myself, so what would Jesus do?
Jesus would open a brothel?
will give a beginner
Hi.
a real education.
These women are all prostitutes.
We prefer escort.
You have a crush on her.
What?
I don't think so. We're talking about a serious business opportunity here. We got business! If we get all the girls together, we could make a lot of money.
We got something good here.
We're gonna have a party.
Like last night?
From the makers of the American Pie movies
One good party.
Come on, chiquitas!
One big bash.
comes the naked truth about a booming business,
Ready to deploy when you are, Private?
a dedicated staff,
You are a naughty girl.
and a man who knows how to party.
You're not supposed to be home yet.
What the hell's going on here?
There's a, we are party people!
I hope you'd have a good explanation for all of this.
I'm a pimp.
If you were a pimp, there would be prostitutes, a dominatrix, and Tom Arnold would be here. Oh my God, you are a pimp.
Matthew Lillard, Efren Ramirez, Rachelle Lefevre, Brett Davern, and Tom Arnold.
You put one scratch on that, I'm happy to deport her back to whatever third world you come from, brother.
I'm from New Jersey.
Sorry.
The Pool Boys.
Me like you big time.
Very cool. Did you get the stuff out of your eye?
I did. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, there we
Yeah.
go.
So-
There's always a reason to have a trailer handy. Yeah, no, that was fun. It was very American Pie, risky business. You said it's different from what you're doing now, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It is. I'm definitely more of a dramedy girl. I mean, I enjoy broad comedies. I love the American Pie films. I love everything like that. I mean, all the way back to, one of my first favorite films was Caddyshack. So, I mean,
Yes, love Caddyshack. Yeah.
it's definitely a genre I appreciate. But as far as the stuff I write, dramedy is just kind of like more my space, I guess. So my very first feature spec was a dramedy, but then I needed to write something else because you have to after you've rewritten the same thing 100 times. And I decided to write something different because I had been in with Warren, the producer. So I said, let me try to come up with an idea that might appeal to him, because getting read is really we'll say 75% of the battle.
Yes.
Not that the writing is easy, because it's not, but getting anything read by the right people is harder than that. So I came up with an idea that I thought would appeal, and I got lucky, and it did. So he read it, and that was that. But I mean, it has a lot of heart. It's not like just slapstick, and it's not stupid or anything. I mean,
right.
It's broad comedy, and there's swearing and boobies, but it's still smart. It has a lot of heart, I think, in it, and the characters do have arcs, and they change and they grow, and I'm really very proud of it.
Okay, so how is this new Extreme Close-Up different, and how is it part of this Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman Writers Lab? Like, how did you get into that? Tell us that story.
Well, I had just applied to that, like, all these other competitions out there, and they responded to it, which was really nice. I mean, the story is it's like a really sexy, funny, bittersweet, romantic drama about an older woman and a much younger guy, and I'm kind of used to that type of story not being respected by a lot of people in the industry. And I don't know if it's that the Writers Lab is for women over 40, and maybe that's why it appealed to their judging committee or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was a nice surprise for sure to be taken seriously with that kind of content, because usually people see that and they just immediately, send it, it sounds like a Hallmark or Harlequin or something, which nothing's wrong with those. It's just not what it is.
Right.
I think it's a bit edgier than that. Anyway, so no, they responded to it, and it has a lot of me in it. It's very personal. I don't know. I mean, and it's very small, and it's contained. It's a very small cast and very few locations. So I think we're going to have some luck getting it produced post-COVID here, because they're keeping everybody in like pods and things like that. And I think that it'll be conducive to that sort of a production dynamic.
Right. And do you have funding for it now? Or are you still looking for funding, or?
Actually, I've got some interest from a number of different producers. I'm in talks with about 3 of them right now, trying to find the best fit. So that's been really encouraging too. Somebody besides me likes it. It's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, so people are responding to it, and male and female people respond to it, which made me really happy. So I've been, trying to get an idea of, actors, and just they haven't, obviously we don't have the funding in place yet, so I can't officially cast people, but I've got my eye on some people, and I'm talking to some people I'm excited about, that I'm hoping to be able to announce something in the not so distant future, which would be very awesome. And planning to direct this one, which is also cool. These producers I'm talking to are on board with that, with a feature directorial debut.
Wow. Congratulations. That'd be awesome. It's a ton of work, but it would be totally awesome to do that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I really am. It wasn't something when I was starting out that I ever thought I would do. But the more I thought about it, the more it just made sense. And 2020, I decided, is the year I'm trusting my gut. My gut said to produce this film and to stop waiting for somebody in Hollywood to give me the thumbs up and give me permission to make my film. I decided I'm just going to make it my damn self. Can I say that? So I just went about and started producing it. I figured I'll find people along the way, and whoever sticks, then they do, and we'll just keep going and see what happens. And it's gaining some traction, and I'm learning how to do this thing, which is kind of cool. And then it's seeming like I've got decent instincts for directing. I'm learning, which is really neat.
Very cool.
Talking to actors and talking about the script with actors, and talking cinematography and things. It's kind of neat to have to see that I've got some correct instincts about this when I haven't had a lot of opportunity to use all that before. So
Right.
encouraging.
And is there like Julie, is there like a pitch for it? You know how some people say, okay, here's my script. It's like Gone to the Wind meets Roots, or, you know, like, is there any sort of movie that you would describe it as, like it's this meets this, or no?
Yes. Yeah. Because it's an older woman, younger man. I pitch it as a kind of a modern take on The Graduate meets Call Me by Your Name.
Okay. I don't know Call Me by Your Name. What is that?
What? Okay, we have to pause so you can go watch Call Me by Your Name.
All right, I'll be right back. Everybody hold on. We're just going to run some ads. And she's going to take a nap, and we'll be back in 2 hours after I watch this movie. What is it, like an old classic movie?
No, it's only maybe a couple years old.
What
2,
is
3
it?
years old or something. It's Timothy Chalamet and Armie Hammer. It's
Okay. Yeah, I know Timmy. My kids are crazy and about Timmy, and he's doing Dune, but I haven't seen one. They're gay lovers or something?
Yeah, and they're both straight in real life. But I mean, it's a beautiful film. It's based on a book, which I will admit I haven't read. I think one or both of my daughters have read it. But the film is just gorgeous. I think it takes place in like the 80s, maybe 80s or 90s. But so I mean, it's period, but not period. And I mean, visually, it's just beautiful, and just the romance is gorgeous because it's atypical, and they're not really able to be together. And it's a kind of a bittersweet ending, and it's just the way it just all lays out. It's so beautiful and smart, and there's so much depth, and every moment is just gorgeous. So you need to see it. So
yes, I should. But is Timothy like the new huge star now? Like, because he's in Dune, and he's been in some of these sort of, like you said, period pieces, like A Sense and Sensibility, and women just swoon over him, and I think some men do too. But does he just have like a lot of charisma? He's a great actor. What is the deal? Because I haven't seen anything with him.
I mean, he's a very good actor. He's got a good jawline, sharp sense of style. I read an interview, or did I hear an interview? I read an interview where he and Harry Styles, I guess, got hooked up on the phone, and they were kind of just mutual admiration society for each other. Which is really
interesting because I love Harry Styles' music, and then he's doing this whole like gender thing where he's wearing his grandmother's pearls, and it's totally wacky because he was just like the biggest heartthrob in the world with this One Direction. So I mean, it's just he's going off on this tangent of some of his clothes are almost circus-like, but 80s, it's almost like an Elton John-esque thing going on here with the big glasses and like lapels, and it's kind of fun, but it's like, what is going on here?
Jane Fonda in 9 to 5, like big blouses. With
yeah. He's like wearing his grandmother's blouses. It's like totally wild. Right. And some of the other ones, there's a guy who is in Baby Driver, which I love that movie. I forget his name, the main character, the guy, and they're wearing nail polish to the Oscars, and like, the whole thing is breaking apart. It's kind of interesting to watch.
I know, yeah. Progeny is cool.
Yeah. So have you, do you know Jim Isa?
We are Facebook friends, and we have some other like real life friends in common. I haven't met him yet.
Okay, because I interviewed Jim, and he knows a ton of people because, I don't know, just hundreds of downloads, like lots of response to Jim and lots of comments on social media. He knows tons of people. I edited a couple of spots with him years ago because I'm a video editor by trade at Turner, and he had some amazing ideas, and he's very talented, but he has these stories about fundraising. And one of them, without going too crazy, is he's friends with Tony Shalhoub and his wife, who's also an actress. And they got funding for a movie for Tony Shalhoub's wife from a carpet mogul by offering him Oscar tickets and at Nobu in LA with 10 people. And
awesome.
And then he also talks about he's done a Lifetime movie. He's done a movie with Luke Perry. He's got another couple movies in the works. He's kind of like you. I think it would be great for me to give you his email. Or you can just message him yourself on Facebook, because you guys, it would be very interesting for you to talk, because he's constantly doing these fundraisers for movies, and he knows how to do it. I never knew how to do that thing, but he gets a bunch of people together at a house, and somehow they're the right people, and he helps people fund movies. And I talked to this guy, Justin O'Neill Miller, who's also in Atlanta, and he has worked on huge movies. He's an art director, and he worked on Christopher Nolan's Tenet and the Rock's new movie Black Adam, and Walking Dead, and Baby Driver, and Prisoners with Hugh Jackman, the Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune. So he's worked on huge movies, but he also makes shorts, and he wants to make a feature. So I got him and Jim together, and I just think you and Jim should talk, because your story is similar to kind of what he's doing, and he's off directing commercials and doing some other stuff, but I think it'd be good for you guys to talk.
Oh, well, cool. I will definitely try to connect with him.
Yeah, definitely try and connect with him. And
he knows some of my favorite people now, including you. So I'll for sure.
Well,
get to know him.
I mean, just mentioned you were on the show, and that's how you talked about him. But yeah, he's a great guy. So I always love people who do a lot of different things. You're a writer, director. I love that you're pitching movies, and you're trying to get a movie produced, and I think it's so cool that people are out there. I was just talking to my girlfriend yesterday about, I don't know what happened with this COVID thing. I just turned a corner. I hit a wall, and it was so depressing, and the whole country, and there's all this stuff going on, and I just decided to be positive. And I decided that things are going to be okay, and things are going to be fine. My kids are about to go back into the building at school in September, October. They just announced, which I don't like, but I just decided to say it's going to be okay, and I'm sick of dreading everything. It's going to be positive, and it's so amazing how many people right now who are writing scripts and putting together podcasts and just being positive and putting positive vibes out into the world of trying to just be creative, just trying to make things. Painters, you see these live musicians on Facebook all the time. You see live people painting. I love all this stuff. So kudos to you and everyone else who, it could be a time where we could all just drink tea and cry.
Well, I did that. Well, I didn't drink a lot of tea because I didn't get out of bed, I think, for the first couple months of this lockdown. I'll admit I sank into some depression, and it is Suicide Awareness Month. So if anybody needs to talk, I am here. I haven't actually done that myself, but I made a promise to myself and my loved ones that as bad as the depression ever got, I was not ever going to tap out. But I'm very aware of it as an issue for people. And depression is very real, and it really sucks. And I definitely was spiraling in the beginning of this whole thing. But then, of course, while I'm laying in bed, I'm, of course, on my phone, and I'm looking at my social media, and I'm seeing people are writing things, and they're creating. And I'm like, okay, if the world doesn't actually come to an end, at some point, we're all going to come out of this. And all these people are going to have new stuff to show. And I'm going to have nothing. I can't let that happen. And before COVID, I had a couple of months or whatever, I've been kind of starting to ramp up with my extreme close-up, trying to get that out into the world. So I picked that back up and kind of dusted off a couple of other projects I'd written, and I've got some interest in some other things going on now too, which is kind of neat. Got a couple other TV projects actually that are being pitched around town now, not our town, Hollywood town. And I have another feature that another producer is kind of interested in making. But I'm like, okay, I need to write some new stuff too. So I have been, I kicked my own ass, and I'm writing some other stuff. I'm probably almost halfway through writing a new romantic comedy, and I'm really into this TV series I'm developing right now, an ensemble series. I'm working on the pilot and developing the show, and that's really, really been fun. so yeah, it's kind of keeping me positive, but it's easy to spiral. It's really, really easy.
It's so easy, and I worry about my friends who, I mean, not that you have to have a partner, but it's good to have a partner to have that support, or live with a roommate or a sibling or something, like to have them be like, it's okay, don't worry about it. But living alone during this time and being locked down and getting takeout must be very hard for some of my friends. So I try and contact them. I try and talk to them. I try to text them. But I'm sure it's not easy to just be in your house alone or your apartment alone for months and months and months. Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, and I am like the very definition of the Ryder Hermit. My office in the basement is this is my happy place, and I'm cool with a lot of alone time. But even I don't think I would be doing very well at this point if I were living alone. So
yeah. So let me ask you a couple of things. One, I've written a couple screenplays. I finished them, but I actually dreaded the second and third and fourth drafts. How do you power through that? Because I love the initial, like, okay, this is the idea and here's the dialogue, and okay, let's go back here and change it to a different exterior, and this is at the park rather than the restaurant, that would work better, and figuring all that stuff out I love. But then going back and working on it again in a second and a third draft and a fourth draft and getting notes from friends, and like, how do you do that? It's such a huge mountain to climb. It's really, really difficult.
Oh yeah, writing's hard. It kind of sucks. Anyone is like, oh, I just enjoy it so much. Like, really? What's wrong with you? You're a crazy person. It's really, really hard. I love second drafts.
Okay.
Drafts. First drafts for me are hard. Do you outline a lot?
I did. I mean, I don't consider myself a writer, even though I've done 4 plays and 2 screenplays. It was really I'm more of an actor-director, and I worked really well with actors, so it was more as a means to an end to get the play made. And I did have people help me write both screenplays and plays, so I had a lot of input and people helping me with dialogue. Actually, writing female dialogue for me was hard. I'm not a female. And people would say, oh, a woman would never say that, or blah, 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 so I don't consider myself a writer, even though I've written a ton of stuff.
Right. Okay. You're a man who writes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I like having a first draft done, so then it's like clay, and I can mold the clay. I mean, like Stephen King said in his book On Writing, which if you haven't read that, it's amazing. And he equates the story of the book to like the what's he say? Like the big lump of marble, and it's in there. The story's in there in its perfect form, and you're trying to chisel away at the excess to get to the story.
Right. I like that.
Lucky you don't knock something off that was necessary, and you get it as close to it's supposed to be in its best form as you can. And I see it as that. So once I have my first draft, then I've got something I can play with, and I can screw around with it. I can add and subtract and that. But I mean, I also outline a lot. I mean, I'm here. I don't know. Can you see? There's my my board.
Oh yeah, I see your board. That's very cool.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a Save the Cat girl. As far as the screenwriting structure and outline, the Blake Snyder's Save the Cat books, if you're aware of the.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a really good starting place. I mean, if your first act doesn't finish on the exact right page, then who cares? But I think that's a good place to start as far as outlining. But then I don't know. And for me personally, I just try to squeeze a lot of truth into the writing, and at some point, it's like the more kind of embarrassed and naked I feel if I let anyone read it, then the closer to good I know it is.
Okay. How do you deal with criticism? Do you have that support? Do you have writer friends that read your stuff and give you feedback?
Yeah. I mean, at this point now, I've been at this a while, so I know a lot of people who will be honest with me. In the beginning, everybody just kind of blows smoke up your skirt, and they're like,
Right.
this is good, this is good. Well, if you can't tell me why it's good, then I'm not going to listen to anything you're saying, and I want to also hear what's not working. But then I also don't want to hear only what's not working, because it helps to hear what's working, not just for your ego, but also so you don't take it out. You need to know when you're on the right track too, I think.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I guess I've got the thick skin now, for sure. And every once in a while, I'll get a note that doesn't feel right, and I'll chew on it a little bit, and then there's like the note behind the note. Why? I don't agree with what this person suggested, but maybe what they're thinking about my character has value, and let me see if there's something that caused them to think this thing, and maybe the motivation wasn't clear or whatever. So there's like the note behind the note to consider, of course. But you got to learn to not do, and a lot of writers, when they're newer, will just automatically implement everybody's notes, and then you've got a mess.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing also is to find someone who's going to give you real notes, but they're going to be honest with you and give you notes to help you write the story you're writing, not to help you write their version of your idea.
Right, yes.
A lot of people are like, oh, this is how I would do it. Da-da-da. Well, that's cool. You can go write that. I'm writing this. And, I want to get, this is where I'm trying to get to. And if you have advice to help me get from here to here, then that would be cool. Otherwise, it's not valuable to me.
Right. And you've talked a lot about Hollywood and talking to people in Hollywood and California. Like, have you become part of the Atlanta film scene because it's so huge? Have you met people in the Atlanta film scene? And is that an option for you to get crews and help and producers and cinematographers?
A couple of the producers I'm talking to that I'm most hoping to work with actually are people that are here, and they're really plugged in. I've met a lot of people here. Most of the people in Atlanta I know seem to be like writers and actors, so they're not. I mean, I've met some crew people when I've been on different sets here and there, but that's not like my circle, and I don't have I don't have a team of my own yet, but we're like a plug and play, which I really hope that after this film I will have that. But yeah, I don't have that yet, meeting people to do that. And I mean, as far as the Hollywood thing, I mean, that's when I first moved here in 2008, it was right after Pool Boys had shot, and that was a Hollywood film. Wasn't a studio film, but it was made in the Hollywood system and whatever.
Right.
And that's just how I had been functioning, the way you're supposed to. I wasn't functioning like an indie person. I was functioning like writing my stuff, and I'm sending it to my old managers, and writing my stuff and hoping somebody in LA will respond to it. So I wasn't trying to make my own stuff for a really long time. So I wasted a lot of years actually not getting to know people as well as I could have here. I regret that.
Right. I interviewed a good friend of mine, James Schrader, and he made his first feature film. I think he just turned 40. And he was an editor like me, but he also does graphics, and he's worked at a bunch of places, and he literally called in every favor and made a feature film. And it's really interesting because it's a horror comedy. So it's on Amazon right now. It's called Nicole, which is odd because that's my girlfriend's name. But this woman is, she's a murderer, I can say, but for good reasons, we can say. You can go check it out on Amazon. But he called in every favor, spent almost no money. Basic money for food and equipment and rentals and stuff like that, but really, really, really low budget. And the thing came out great. And he found people in, which he may be another good person for you to talk to. He found people that he had worked with on commercial shoots and said, hey, would you mind doing this? And got this really great DP because it looks beautiful. And then he did this thing that I didn't know about with my short films, but that is really cool. He found an agent after he made the feature that puts films on Amazon, Netflix. So you're not trying to get into a theater, right? You have your premiere and the people come and everybody, but you're trying to make your money back through rentals and portions of rentals. And right now he's not on Amazon. He's trying to get on. He is on Amazon, but he's trying to get on Netflix and he's trying to get on the other platforms. I don't even know what they're called that show movies, but it's a really interesting way. And he could probably make enough money because he's actually having lots of people watch it on Amazon. I can see there's tons of reviews and tons of, I would say hundreds, not thousands right now. It just came out like 3 weeks ago. But it's doing really well. And I could see him making enough money to make another feature someday or whatever. But his name is James Schrader and the film is Nicole. And it's on Amazon, and it's a woman with a hatchet in her hand on the cover.
Nice.
But yeah, it's cool because what I've talked to a lot of people about, actors, writers, directors, producers, is that in this day and age with the internet, you can make your movie. You can make a movie fairly cheaply and show it on. I think that's what it is. He's trying to also get it on IFC or Sundance to play it. So that's another payment or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, there are channels, smaller channels, and Amazon and Netflix and things that you could get your movie onto.
They like guerrilla filmmaking. They're scraping money out of the cushions in the couch and making a movie. And I have a lot of respect for those guys. I am not one of those guys.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not an actor, so usually those guys are also acting in their own films. I think when they're making them super cheap, and they're editing their own film, and they don't need a lot of bodies to make it. And this being my first feature that I'm directing, and I'm not in it, so I don't think I'm going to be in that type of a budget range. But I briefly considered it, but also I don't know. I think I'm just too dang old to do that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, but I'm just saying, like, they have a Red camera that does raw footage that is the same footage that people shoot for high-end blockbuster movies, and so you're not even buying it. I think it's like $10,000 to buy, but you're renting it for several weekends, and you're talking like $5,000 for your camera. Yeah,
we've read for one of my shorts, actually.
Oh, you did? Okay, so yeah, so then it's. I made a short that cost me $1,000. We shot in 4 hours, and it was an 8-minute film. So I did the math. I was like, okay, if I want to do a feature, it's gonna be $10,000 or $15,000, whatever it is, to do it the same way. So yeah, it's very exciting when people are making stuff, and kudos to you for making stuff during this time. But we are getting towards the end here. We're at 2:51. And I always ask everyone, Julie, their advice. Any advice that you can give to young people who want to get into this industry? I know it's a really tough time, maybe just in general, not during COVID because it's just starting to come back. But whether they want to write screenplays, direct, make movies, and especially women, is it harder for women to be in this industry and be at the top, directing and writing and stuff, or is that a myth? Yes, it is. Okay.
Yes, it is. I'll for sure say yes to that. My former manager at one point we were looking at all the ideas of things I could write next, and he steered me toward writing something with a male lead, because anything with a female lead, just no one was really going to be interested in it. Now, that was years ago.
Right.
But also when I was first coming up, women were rivals, and now times are different. Women are supporting each other, and that is fantastic. It used to be just understood that there's, in a writer's room, there's room for one woman at the table. There's, never room for more than one woman. So if one woman makes it, all the other ones don't. So no one's supporting anybody. Now everybody's supporting everybody, and I love it. So that's definitely a very good thing. And I think women these days have a much better chance at things. But it's still hard. It's still really competitive. Even without COVID, it's going to be difficult to get anything made ever. don't waste time waiting for permission. That would be my first advice. I wasted a lot of years waiting for permission. If people aren't writing, just figure it out and start doing it yourself. If you want to be a screenwriter, if there's nothing else that would make you happy in the world, then focus on that. If there's anything else you think might make you happy, I would say spend at least as much time on that. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
And I also regret, and also I wasn't living in Atlanta when I was younger, and where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of stuff shooting, but I wish I had spent time working on crew, and I didn't do that. That would have been really good background. I would have known a lot more people. I would have known a lot more just about the industry in general. Another thing for screenwriters, read unproduced scripts. Don't just look at films you love and read scripts for films you love. Read stuff that hasn't been produced and see why it's good and why it's not good. And I learned more from reading, like peer reviewing scripts on websites, like Coverfly. I love those guys. They have like a peer review thing on Coverfly, and it's great. You can read other people's scripts, and most of them are actually pretty good because these people have studied the craft a bit, and you can see where they are in their writer journey, and you just learn so much, I think, from that. Not just like the looking at stuff and I can't believe they make that crap, I can write better than that. That isn't valuable at all.
Right. So where can people find, do you have a website? Do you have an IMDb page? You have an IMDb page. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you and give you $10 million for your movie?
Oh, that would be awesome. And $10 million, I don't even need nearly that much, They can find me when I'm on like all the social media, just at Julie O'Hora, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, my IMDb. I guess it's all pretty much just the same, just my name.
Very cool. Well, this has been great. I have written a little bit, not as much as you, and I love people who are making stuff. So this has been so much fun to talk to you, and I wish you the best of luck. And I will be looking out for Extreme Close-Up.
Thank you very much.
Coming soon. But I do think it would be fun for you. So offline, I can send you James's email, and you can contact Jim yourself on Facebook. But I think it'd be great to talk both of those guys because they've kind of done it in different ranges of budgets. But I think it would be fun for you to talk to them.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, and then this will come out as an audio podcast in a couple of months. And I will let you know when that happens. And then obviously I'm going to share this all over social media. And if you can do the same, that would be great. But thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you, Sean. This was fun.
All right. Very cool. You have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.